In this corner, the 2016 Toys R Us exclusive Marvel Legends Dark Phoenix, and in this corner, the all-new Marvel Legends Retro Card version. Does the new Firebird rise up to the lofty standard set by the original, or will she be left in the ashes? Place your bets. This Phoenix Versus is dark. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Starting off with packaging, and the original is particularly nice. Not only is it a nice open window box showing us everything that we get, but that Toys R Us exclusive seal really brings us back. On the side we get some original art from the comic, though a bit low res if I'm being honest, and then on the back we get a couple of nice product shots, info on the comic upon which it's based, and a bio. If that wasn't enough, the backer card is also artwork from the original Dark Phoenix comic. Gene, no, don't! As great as that is, the retro card is also pretty nice too. It takes its inspiration from the original Toy Biz figure, Uncanny X-Men Phoenix Saga logo up here, some very lovely artwork on the side, Phoenix Flame, and Dark Phoenix down here. On the back we get a graphic, a bio, and other figures in the wave. This one brings me back to my childhood, but this one has served me faithfully for years. I've had it ever since it came out, and it's one box I've never thrown away. And if you've watched enough videos on my channel, you know I've taken this figure out several times over the years. I love what a celebration of the comic it is, I love that it's a reusable, displayable window box, and I love this reminder of one of my favorite places that's no longer there. For packaging, this round goes to old. Moving on to presentation, both figures stand at just about 6 1/4 inches. That's because in terms of sculpt, they're basically the same. The biggest difference is that the retro card benefits from updated articulation from the Shriek body mold. As we can see, the head sculpt is the same. The original figure's hair is cast in a translucent plastic that gives it a more ethereal look. Flipping her around, and I love this transition. It's also great for backlighting. The new one's hair is a solid red plastic with a dark red wash. Although not exactly the same, both figures' logo has been tampoed on, the new one being a bit lower. Otherwise, the only structural differences are the sash. This one is a brand new piece with the Phoenix Force brooch sculpted on and painted gold, whereas the original one was a reused belt with the Phoenix logo merely painted on. Paint is otherwise the biggest difference. The original figure's limbs were cast into marbleized plastic. This gives them a more iridescent and metallic finish. The retro card's limbs, however, were cast in a very bright yellow plastic. Most striking was the deep burgundy color of the original figure, accented by black shading, whereas the new figure is a brighter, more comic booky red, with no shading whatsoever. Despite already having a Dark Phoenix, I wanted this one for the updated articulation, and in case they release a green version to go with it. Years later, however, and the darker tones and translucent hair continue to win me over. For presentation, this round goes to old. Moving on to posability, and you can probably guess where this round is going to go. First off, in both figures' heads are on ball joints and disc hinges. They can't look up because of their long, luxurious locks, but they can look down. They also get a surprising amount of tilt and side to side. Moving on down, and the original can raise her arm up 90 degrees. The retro card, however, can raise her arm even higher. And whereas the original figure has nothing but a single jointed swivel elbow, the new figure has bicep swivel and double jointed pinless elbows. That said, both figures have swivel hinge wrists. Shifting to the torso, and each Phoenix has a diaphragm joint. They can arch back this far, which is about the same. Do be warned though, the retro card figure does run out of paint. Also just now noticing a bit of paint slop on the logo, and they can hunch forward about the same. Below the golden sash, both figures have ball jointed hips. They can kick 90 degrees, but whereas the original can only split this far, the new one can split this far. Both figures have thigh cut, but whereas the original simply had double jointed knees, the new one has pinless double jointed knees that bend much deeper. That said, they both have the same wonderful Marvel Legends ankles that can hinge and pivot. For posability, this round obviously goes to new. Moving on to playability, and in terms of accessories, this one's kind of a toss-up. Starting with the retro card, and she comes pre-packed with some fists that the original figure did not have, but she also includes the tried and true Lady Legends open hands that the original had. That said, both of them do have their Firebird, but in terms of the retro card, that's it. The original comes with 2 additional heads. One of those heads is sculpturally identical, but has solid hair and normal eyes. The third head is completely powered down and was included for people who didn't like the head that came with the Green Phoenix. I'll be honest, I'm not that crazy about this one, but if you wanted to do a swap, here's how that head looks. I love the transition. Here's how this head looks looks, which unfortunately is almost brown by comparison. And here's how that head looks. That being said, if you want more display options, I do have a few ideas. One of the more popular options is this Firebird from the Marvel Select Phoenix. It includes footholes here where the original pegs in with her high heels. Sadly, that's not an option, but you can at least stand her in front of it. The fire base from the HasLab Galactus Nova works, however, and that's to say nothing of other tried and true Marvel Legends fire effects that you probably have a few extras laying around. Additionally, there are third-party action figure fire options as well. Fortunately for our newfangled Phoenix, playability is more than just accessories. It's also about how well your figures play with others. First off, and here we have Xavier in a more realistic wheelchair, as was appropriate for the comic at the time, but for those of you who more associate Phoenix with the animated series, here he is with his hover chair. On that subject, and here we have the 70s style Scott that came with the 2-pack, and here we have the 90s version from the Love Triangle 3-pack. Speaking of the Love Triangle 3-pack, and here we have Wolverine, here's the brown and orange Wolverine, and the Uncanny X-Men 275 training uniform Wolverine, also from the Retro Card wave. Rounding out the rest of the team, and here we have 70s Storm and 90s Storm. Specific to the 70s, and here we have Dazzler, Kitty Pryde, Thunderbird, and Sunfire. But for the rest of that 90s animated series team, and here we have Retro Card Rogue, Retro Card Gambit, Jubilation Lee, and Beast. That said, for a couple of X-Men for all seasons, and here we have Nightcrawler and Colossus. For some Phoenix Saga specific characters, and here we have Gladiator, Sebastian Shaw, the Black King of the Hellfire Club, Emma Frost, the White Queen of the Hellfire Club, and eventual rival for Cyclops' affections, and the Hellfire Club Guard. For some other X-Men villains, and here we have Magneto, the Marvel Select Classic Sabretooth, Mr. Sinister, who's always fairly fixated on Jean Grey and Cyclops, the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure, the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure, but in the spirit of the animated series, and here we have the Apocalypse Retro Card. For the other Jeans in my collection, and here we have my very first Dark Phoenix figure from Toy Biz. Here we have a Toy Biz Jean in her original costume, her 90s costume is part of the Toy Biz Onslaught wave, and her Age of Apocalypse costume is part of Toy Biz's Secret Weapons Force. Here's the 2004 Ultimate Phoenix from Marvel Select. Oddly enough, despite being made by Marvel Select, it actually says Toy Biz on her leg. As for Hasbro, and here we have the Love Triangle 3-pack, Age of Apocalypse from the Sugar Man wave, Marvel Girl from House of X, and Jean Grey as the Black Queen. For a relative scale comparison, and here we have Dark Phoenix with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man. If Hasbro releases a green Phoenix on this body and includes the other heads that this one didn't, I'll consider it a draw, but as is right now, this round goes to old. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. If you were fortunate enough to find the Dark Phoenix 2-pack when it first came out, it would have only set you back about $40. Today, new in box, it can go anywhere from $200 to $300 upward. Loose, Jean goes for over $100, and that's often without all of her accessories. By contrast, the Retro Card might not have as many accessories and might not be as nicely painted, but it is only $25. For price, this round goes to new, but the battle goes to old, 3-2. If you like this video, check out one of these. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.